Hey world, welcome to Anywhere the Needle Drops. I am your host, Justin Flagel, and of course we are here to explore all the wonderful, all the cool, all the magic that is the music scene here in Michiana, in Michigan, in the wider region, in the nation, in the world. We're here for it all. And today we have in the house one of our Michigan pillars, that is PerShayla and the Mayhaps. I mean, technically they're in Nashville now, but we still claim them as Michigan and always shall. Michigan is where it's at. And speaking of Michigan, they are currently on tour. They've got a bunch of Michigan dates, or if you're somewhere else in the country, there's some dates elsewhere. Check out the link in the show notes to see all the places they're going to be. I've seen Patty and the band live a couple of times. They're always fantastic. But yeah, I had Lucas and Dave and of course Patty here in the studio with me to talk about all things in their music world, what they're doing these days, where they came from, and what's coming in the future. And speaking of the future, in just a couple of seconds here, you're going to get a little taste of their music from their EP from last year, Perpetual Motion Machine. We're going to play you the track I Want It Faster. You're going to love it, and then you're going to go right on over to their Bandcamp page and you're going to buy that EP, because streaming, you don't want to stream that stuff. You want to buy that album, give musicians your money, as I always say. So enjoy this track from PerShayla and the Mayhaps, I Want It Faster. After that, the interview.
No hands, and that's how I like it. Better things wait for me over the horizon. No, my heart can't be caught when I'm in that motion. Took the cash, let the match wait for the explosion.
Beautiful. So wait, hold on. I just have to ask because it's rare that I meet one in the wild. But are you a Firefly fan?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Because like a lot of people, I'm like Firefly, and they're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a weird name for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always thought that anyway.
Yeah. So my relationship with that show is very interesting because I was I guess he's problematic now, I guess, but Joss Whedon, I was a big fan of Buffy and the like.
Same. I'm a huge Buffy fan.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember when Firefly was announced, I was actually getting into the point in my life where I was getting busy and like didn't have as much time to watch TV shows and stuff. And now so I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, why did you have to make a new TV show? Now I've got to find the time to watch this thing. And like I wanted to hate it. I remember like being ready to hate it when it first aired so I could not have to deal with it. And then I was like, this is my favorite thing ever. And here we are 20-some years later. So
yeah. Was how many? 14 episodes or something?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. How is the cucumber mint?
I like it.
Okay. Jess, if you're listening, the cucumber mint has found a home. The last one is gone, and we found someone that actually likes it. So there we go. That was a purchase by one of the owners of the studio here, and they've sat there for a while. So I'm glad you like it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So welcome. Welcome. Just so everyone can at home can know who we're talking to. I think Patty, you'll probably be pretty obvious, but Dave and Lucas, maybe give me a little hello so everyone knows your voices.
Hello, this is Dave.
Hello, I'm Lucas.
All right, there we go. Nice. So, welcome to the studio. Thank you for coming here to do this thing. So I was at that Michigan, whatever it was called, that state theater show. It was the Accidentals.
Oh, yeah, Michigan.
Yeah, I was at that show, and Lindsay's been on this show a couple of times, and I had the Accidentals scheduled at that time, and they have since been on, and I'm like, I need to get Patty on here. Like, what am I doing? So we've finally done it. So here we are. Yeah. So what are you guys up to? You guys are doing a little touring right now?
Yeah, so every summer when Nashville is 100 degrees, we flee north to Michigan. We're the opposite of snowbirds, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe the same, but it just feels like it's in a different direction. I don't know. Maybe we're snowbirds. So we're up in the Midwest, working up to Mile of Music, playing some shows in Michigan and Chicago and all around Lake Michigan.
Very nice.
A couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it is. It's funny because we have, I still claim you guys as Michigan artists, Michigan music, but we do have that tendency for, we tend to lose some of our Michigan artists to the Nashville scene. I get it. I totally get it. But I'm always happy when y'all come back. Or there was one artist that actually moved from Nashville to Michigan. Her name is Kelly Hoppenjan. And I was like, cool, we got one. Like, that's a point in our favor. So, yeah. So, how's the tour going? Are you touring with the EP from last year? You've got some new music. What's going on in your world out there?
Yeah, still touring Perpetual Motion Machine.
Yeah. A year old, like in a week, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Throwing a couple of new tricks up our sleeves. I wrote a song, part of the Sixth Man Sessions, which was on a cruise ship back in November, and so we've been throwing that one into the mix. And now that we have Dave officially in our lineup, we're going to start writing some new stuff again.
Nice.
Hopefully that'll be out next year, though. So
okay. All right. Wait. So tell me more about this cruise ship situation.
So we were voted onto the Rock Boat, which is Sister Hazel's music festival at sea.
Oh, okay.
We did that back in January, February. And as part of that, they have some of the artists from the lineup do a collaborative album on a different cruise ship. So back in November, it was me and the bass player for Bowling for Soup, one of the singers from Alternate Roots, the singer from The Common Heart, Michael Tolcher, Brian Facchino, and the guitarist from Fever Dolls, and I hope I'm not missing anybody. There was an incredible crew of people, and Sixth Man, and we had 4 days. We'd never met each other. 4 days to write and record an album, and
that's amazing.
It was really fun.
Yeah, very cool. Is that available somewhere?
Yeah, on streaming services.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the CDs were mostly just for rock boaters.
Okay.
So.
And what's that called for anyone that wants to check it out?
Sixth Man Sessions Volume 8.
Cool. That's very cool. So 2 quick things I have to say there. First of all, Sister Hazel, all for you, still a banger. Anyone disagree?
Do not disagree.
Okay,
Sister Hazel
all right.
rocks.
All right,
And they're the nicest band.
Are they really?
I've ever met,
That's
honestly.
awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Bowling for Soup, did you ever hear that story? Or did they maybe even mention when they were going to play in St. Joe, Michigan, and there was this huge like conservative uproar? Yeah.
About them coming
About
to
them. Yeah. They were it was one of the last years St. Joe did the Venetian Festival. I don't know if you're familiar with this area at all. It used to be a big festival they did over that way. And yeah, one year somehow they got Bowling for Soup booked. They've gotten some names, but a lot of times it's like the latest iteration of, Foreigner or Journey or that kind of a thing. Every once in a while you get a Better Than Ezra in there or something like that. But yeah, one year Bowling for Soup was scheduled to play. And I don't remember exactly how it started, but someone was upset about their lyrics. They've got some minor raunchiness, nothing too terrible really, but it was enough that a handful of folks of that ilk got up in arms and basically got the show canceled. And so Bowling for Soup was so upset about it that there was a club in St. Joe at the time called Czars. And so the next year they came to town and played an entirely free show for all the fans that couldn't come see them at Venetian Festival. They're like, fuck you, we'll just come here and everyone can come and it doesn't cost anything. And it was amazing. It was so cool because it was this tiny little, it's the club where like the local cover bands would play and stuff like that. And you're sitting there watching Bowling for Soup, particularly in their heyday, Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I assume that they are cool guys based on that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're exactly what you would hope. They're
Nice.
goofballs, and we love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so you're on cruise ships. You're doing the tour. How's the tour going so far? It's summertime. It's that time of the season for festivals and stuff. So
Yeah. It's been good. It's kind of a whirlwind. Sometimes I forget what we did. I know we were in Sheboygan, Wisconsin recently. I don't remember. Peoria, Illinois. We played Pride Fest. That was our first Pride that we've ever played, and it was everything I hoped for.
Nice.
We played Cadillac Festival of the Arts with the Accidentals as a collab set.
Yeah.
And that was really fun.
Yeah.
So,
do you guys have Michigan origins as well, or what's your background?
Yeah, I was raised in Petoskey, Michigan.
Oh, nice.
I've
Okay.
been living in Grand Rapids for the past 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, which is where I met Patty and Lucas.
Awesome. Okay.
we're stealing him from Michigan.
Hey, we'll as long as you keep coming back, we'll allow it. So as long as I can still claim you as Michigan artists. So Michigan has a really cool music scene. I think it's maybe something kind of unique compared to other places, and I don't know that a lot of people necessarily know about it. So talk to me a little bit about your view of the Michigan scene, from the inside of it. Obviously the Accidentals, them and, Lindsay and I mean, we've got such a rich, well of music here.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all experienced different genre, in minor, how do you say, sub scenes to a lot of the time. But no, I always appreciate coming back here. I know this year, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but whatever. I'm going to be part of the Ebert and Friends Christmas pageant thing that they do. I don't want to say pageant like beauty pageant, but a Christmas show that they do in Ann Arbor every year, and I'm really excited about that. Erin Zindel hosts it, and I've been wanting to work with her forever, so that was really excited. Again, we're opening for the Crane Wives soon.
Nice, love the Crane Wives.
Love them.
They've been on this show here, yeah.
But I mean, we recently did Smiling Acres too, and Mark Lavengood hosts that, and he jammed out with us, and it was so much fun. And we get to see all our friends when we come back up, and I just love when I see a lineup, and I'm like, I don't even know who to see because it's been so long. It feels like a family reunion coming back. But.
Yeah, that's the sense that I get. It does feel very familial amongst the bands of the region, especially in that kind of Grand Rapids pocket.
Yeah, Dave, you might have more to.
Yeah, I love the community of Grand Rapids. I feel like it's just a time bomb ready to explode. There's so many great artists and bands, and everybody's so much fun to work with and hang out with. And love the venues. The intersection's a great place, and
yeah. What do you guys think is behind that? I think we're in this moment of music that, there can be a lot of lamenting about, certainly the world of streaming and maybe things being a little oversaturated. But I do think there are these unique scenes that are going on where, people are like looking over and like, what's going on in Michigan or in this region? What's going on in Michiana? The whole like Goshen to Benton Harbor corridor, like something special is going on there. It's more of like the grassroots kind of thing. People with the really passion for it. I mean, do you from your side sense, maybe more opportunity in some ways? Where we are in music versus where maybe things were in the past.
I think as a DIY band, we have no opportunities by way of nepotism. So I think that, there's all of the tools that you need. You can find them. And especially in Nashville, I'd say it's oversaturated. But if you know what makes your voice resonate with people and what makes you like unique, if you find that thing and explore it, I think there's all kinds of opportunities. Streaming is its own thing, but at this point we've just started giving away our music for free as far as like downloads, because we're not making much in that revenue stream anyway. So it's more about like crowdfunding and things for us. And I think more people, which is actually, my mentor always asks me about that because he thinks it's fascinating. He's like of the boomer generation where he's just not used to it being like listener support directly to the artist, but it's actually like bringing it back to like medieval eras, or is it the 1800s? I'm so bad at
something like that.
Okay, 1600s. I don't know, but it's like when I think of like the
patrons
famous
and that kind of thing.
Yeah, patrons and the famous composers.
Yeah.
And don't quiz me about history, but but I just
this is History Talk with Justin and Patty.
Oh God. But yes, I think that's where we have found success, that we're not, beholden to anybody but the people who already love us. So
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so you just said the word right there, so let's run with that. Like, what does success, look for you guys? And everyone feel free to weigh in. Maybe there's nothing you're aiming for, maybe you're already doing it, but what is success for you guys as a band?
I don't think any of us really have aspirations to like be, famous rock stars or anything. For me, it's mostly just about being able to make a living doing something that I'm passionate about. Patty and I both have bouts working at chain coffee stores that we shall not mention.
Sure.
But, and it can be kind of soul crushing when you have to do something that every day that you're, just not into.
Yeah.
Just to, stay alive. So, I guess I can't speak for everyone, but I think we are on a similar page.
Yeah.
I think this is success just right here, being able to go out and have the privilege to play in front of people. And I feel success when I see kids and people dancing in front of us. That gives me enough happiness and everything. That's success to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I feel it all the time. I will take famous rock star. I don't want to write that off as it's not the goal, because I think that we would do different things very differently. But I just think the more that we can sustain it, like for example, something like maybe we didn't have as many shows this winter and we were like pinching pennies trying to figure it out, but then our van broke down and I was like, this might be it. And then I was like, putting a GoFundMe out there, like, we need a van, can you help? And everybody said yes, and we got over our amount and we bought a van and we're still going. And it's like, I don't know that I could ask for more than just like that support, and so we're kind of spreading around the country and trying to just like see new places and make new music and just keep it going.
Make those new fans and so you've had some success with the crowdfunding, the Patreon, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Patreon, Kickstarter, and GoFundMe. Yeah.
Okay, so is it like is it that in touring? Is it merch? Are those kind of the things you rely on then, or what's the like I said, you're not getting it from music sales as much, so.
Yeah, that comes in once in a while, maybe a couple $100 a year or something. So it's not something that we could live off of. But yeah, and I mean, we haven't really dabbled in like sync licensing, and I don't want to. I don't know. I just don't think our music is very commercial, nor do I want it to be. And that's a lot of what Nashville is about, is that, and just like, co-writing and writing for other people, which I think is great. But I don't know. I just think that the things that I want to say with our music are things that I can only say as me too.
Yeah,
So it is, you have to go out there and find it a lot of times. And I don't know. We dabble in YouTube and things, and I'm trying to do more of that because there's people who love us across the pond that we can't go visit. So I want to try to make sure that I explore that too, and then maybe eventually we'll go visit them.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny because I had Brian Vander Ark in here not that long ago, lead singer of the Verve Pipe, and that's a band that, obviously skyrocketed to some major success, and then, then things kind of fell apart for them for a while. And it's interesting to see, he's such a down to earth and chill guy. And he's always thankful for those times, but he seems almost like he's maybe a little happier in the moment he's in now versus when they were on MTV or whatever. There's some more freedom, I think, creatively, and, maybe some more sense of accomplishment when you're making things happen. So, yeah. So you mentioned something about Nashville being a little oversaturated. Do you think it's about time that bubble's going to pop and we need a new, like we've had our Austin, we've had our Nashville. Like I'm wondering, like, what's going to be the next place? Where's everyone going to flock to when that becomes too much? Any ideas on that? I mean, I wouldn't mind it being, South Bend, but I mean.
I mean, we do love South Bend.
Yeah.
I really feel that Detroit is an underloved music scene.
Yes.
Detroit loves it, but I'm saying I think they're the ones to look at. Like, specifically, I know, like, Via Mardot has been taken off. She plays all kinds of instruments, always inspires me. Olivia Mainville, it was her prior stage name. But anyway, Via Mardot, and she played on, like, the remake of Dark Side of the Moon, and all kinds of incredible things. And
nice.
Just watching her and her friend group and everybody that I know over there at Detroit, I think, is one to look out for. Sorry, Grand Rapids, don't hate me. I love you too, but
there's enough room for both of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan has so much great music. We've got what's happening in Detroit. We've got the Grand Rapids thing. We've got what's going on down here. We've got bands like Warren Treaty. They're what, Ann Arbor?
Flint.
Or Flint. Okay, yeah. So I mean, there's room for everybody. Michigan is one of those states where obviously we have the big manufacturing background with the auto industry and whatnot, and then it seems like we have these situations where we have these collapses of industry, and then you see art grow out of that. And we're in a moment in Michigan where there's so much great art coming out of it. And I mean, I just love it. I grew up in Michigan. I had to go wander the earth for a while, and then I'm like, I got to go back there. This place is too cool. So,
I was just saying yesterday that I feel like I appreciated the lakes when I lived here, but especially after moving away and having none of that, like, don't take those lakes for granted. Like, protect them at all cost, because it's not like that everywhere else.
Yep. I was just at a music event in Chicago all weekend, and we were talking about how everyone's like flocking to Michigan because of climate change and everything else happening.
True.
So are you guys getting a chance to hang out at the beach or like check out the lakes do you have any downtime on this tour?
We did for a bit in Wisconsin.
Nice.
On the other side of the lake.
Yeah. It's not quite as cool, but
no sunsets.
Yeah.
Facing the other way.
Yeah, they do it wrong over there. I don't know what the problem is.
The sun just doesn't set over there.
They need to fix it. Yeah. Yeah, I was today. I'm like, I think the weather's supposed to be nice tomorrow. Maybe I'll go to the beach and call off of work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. So you're on the road right now. What do you guys do to entertain yourselves if you don't have time to stop? I mean, what's playing in the car? Do you guys all ride in one car? You share? Yeah. Well, actually, who's the driver? Who's the driver in the?
We take turns.
Take turns. Yeah. Okay.
It's usually not me.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like Lucas is a morning person. I'm a night person.
Okay.
So it's like if we have to drive after a show, that's gonna be me. Usually Lucas takes first shift, Dave will take middle, and I'll take the last. Yeah. But it kind of depends on like sleep schedules and other things too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Patty's usually working while we're driving too.
Click, clack, clack, clack,
Yeah.
click, clack, clack, clack.
Songwriting and emailing venues and stuff?
Yeah,
or what?
emailing and social media. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people necessarily understand when you are, an independent, band, all the background work that goes into it. It's not just writing songs. It's not just, doing gigs. It's finding the gigs. It's, all of the back end, all the
Fixing the van, making the poster.
yeah, the design work, the websites, Yeah, I'm doing a documentary with Abby Thomas and the Crazy Hearts right now, and so I'm riding along with them on a lot of their tours, and I don't know that there's a moment in that van that Abby is not on her laptop, on the road. She never drives because she's got to be on her laptop doing the work.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is one of you a little road ragey out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will claim the road rager.
Nice. And who gets control of the radio when you guys are out and about?
I think we kind of share it. Lucas usually is afraid of the aux.
Wait.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And then he just plays Pink Floyd or Jack White.
Don't want that pressure.
Yeah, I'm in my headphones a lot of time if I'm playing music, but
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like it is usually me and Dave playing some crazy stuff. I don't know. What were we listening to? We were listening to
The other day was Bentley and Black Midi.
Yeah, some crazy prog
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
And then it was Brett.
Yes. You're Charlie.
It's good to have variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and each of you jump in on this, but, what was it that put you toward making music for your art for a living? I mean, how'd you get your start on that? Were you playing when you were a kid?
I was bit by a radioactive bass player.
Oh, kidding. Classic story. Classic story.
Yeah. No, I have never wanted to do anything else. Like, I remember in high school being like, no, I'm going to do music. And they're like, okay, you're going to teach music. And I was like, no, I'm a terrible teacher. I'm going to do music. They're like, okay, so you're going to, like, be in a choir. And I'm like, no, that sounds boring to me. Anyway, so I straight out of high school knew what I wanted to do. Thought about pursuing it in college, looked at the price of that, and then just started, working in the workforce and started just making music wherever I could. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. How did I get interested in it? It was like my upbringing. I was just always around like live music and jam sessions and stuff like that.
Did your family play or?
Yeah, my dad played guitar a little bit. My brother's been in punk bands his whole life. He's in Big Timmy and the Heavy Chevys right now. They're a soul group. They're incredible.
Nice.
But yeah, I have no other option.
So you just performed a little back and forth there. So was that family telling you or saying kind of questioning your plans, or was that teachers or everybody?
So my family, both of my parents were just like, as long as you can feed yourself, you do whatever you want to do. For all of us, that was, and always been supportive of like coming to shows and repping the merch and sharing it with their friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's mostly like teachers and anybody who didn't know me, I guess, like that, like intimately, like to understand how important it was. So
Yeah.
But no, my family's super supportive.
I have to wonder if that's going to shift because, in our generation, we've witnessed so much of the safe path not work out we've lived through how many recessions in just our own lifetime and various other disasters that have collapsed the economy, the retirement funds disappearing and the safe office jobs going away. I just have to wonder, like, as our generation has kids and starts to impart those lessons, if we're going to say, not just do what you're passionate about, because the safe thing is not actually safe anyway, What about you guys? What's your start in music?
I was really into Bop It and Guitar Hero.
The unsung hero in the music world, Bop It.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
I was super into rhythm games, and I would just catch up to them like really easily. And my dad one time was playing Exit Stage Left by Rush, and I heard the drum solo on it, and it blew my mind. I didn't know that you could do that and that a band would let a drummer do that.
Yeah.
So I got super into drums that way and started playing when I was about 12. And started to really take it seriously in high school, and I had like a drum mentor. He was a senior when I was a freshman. He actually plays drums in Michigan Rattlers, and he really encouraged me to take it further. And in school, we had this awesome steel drum group that we would kind of like tour Michigan in the summers and stuff, and that got me really acquainted with playing in front of large audiences. And yeah, it was the same thing. Like, all my teachers were like, "Oh, well, you're going to teach music then?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want to. And they really did convince me. I went to Grand Valley for a bit as a music education major, and I hated it. I went back to like my high school to substitute a few times and just kind of sit in, and they were doing the same shit when I was there.
Yeah.
And it's kids throwing pencils in the ceilings, jousting with trombones. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And all of my friends and colleagues that I'd known that went into teaching, they didn't play anymore. And that was the most important to me, was performing. And the world's on fire. Like, I'm going to play music until I can't anymore. Like, I don't know, I'd hate to be sitting in an office and, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Lucas?
For me, I grew up in just a really, really small town, and I was just kind of an awkward kid where if you weren't into sports, there really wasn't a place for you. And my sister had gotten a guitar for Christmas one year, and she was just really not that into it, and I just kind of picked it up, and I don't know, I guess something kind of sparked in me. A friend of mine was also learning how to play guitar, and we kind of just got some of our school buddies together and decided to start a band, and that kind of just, I don't know, just kind of lit me up in a way that I hadn't really, happened before. My parents, when I was young, listened mostly to like radio country stuff, and it just never really did it for me. But
Yeah.
I have this very distinct memory that I, talk about a lot of. My mom was just like cleaning the house one day, and she put on a Journey Greatest Hits CD. And the song, I think it's called Separate Ways is the song.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is this? I'd never heard like real like rock music before. I probably had, but that was the first time I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I moved to Grand Rapids and went to college studying audio production. That's something I'm also very passionate about. But for me, it's just kind of like, there's kind of like what Patty was saying, there's not really another option for me. I don't really have any other marketable skills, and I just wanted to spend my life doing something that I enjoyed rather than working, kind of like what you're saying. It's like the safe jobs aren't even really that safe.
Yeah.
So why not do what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now we're here.
Yeah. All right. So we heard some Rush. We heard some Journey. What are the musical memories we have of our childhood that made us who we are today?
So I gained sentience in I'm a really small person, and I come from a low-income family. So I remember I was like 6 years old, still in my crib, because I could fit in the crib, so I stayed in that crib. And I heard The Wall by Pink Floyd, and I was like, I'm alive now. I know things. I'm the universe experiencing itself all of a sudden. I just distinctly remember, like, that's like my oldest memory is just hearing The Wall and just being alone in my crib and being like, I can't turn this off, and why would I want to?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And also, the first song I sang on stage with my Uncle Roger was Mustang Sally, doing the Ride, Sally, Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are two that stick out to me.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, those memories stick. I mean, my earliest memories are hefting those records up on my parents' turntable as a kid. I'm so thankful they just left it out where I had access to it, because I don't know who I would have been if I hadn't had that, So, yeah.
Right.
What about you? Anything else besides Journey and Rush for you two?
There was one moment when I was taking lessons, and I recently fell in love with teaching private lessons. And I would tell all my students this, how one of my private lessons teachers told me, he's like, just find somebody at school that plays guitar and just play with them. I think that was a big turning point for me. I think one of my biggest skills as a musician is supporting other people, making them sound good. And that all started when he was like, find somebody that plays guitar. And I did. One of my friends played guitar, and we learned, Henrietta by the Fratellis, and I think Holiday by Green Day.
Nice.
It's like the first songs I played with somebody, and it was incredible in the sense that we formed a band and all of that. Yeah, I think being told to play with other people is a big moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something beautiful about, like collaboration and creativity. You know, it's fun to create things on your own, but when you can do it with people, especially if they get you and you get them, it's, you know, a whole other thing. So, Lucas, any other influential music as a kid? Or hell, now, what are you listening to now, you know?
Oh, well, when I was a kid, I just had a good friend who was also learning how to play guitar, and we started a band, and we were always into like the kind of emo pop punk stuff of the mid 2000s.
Sure, yeah. Who was your favorite?
It's hard now because some of that I listen to now, and I'm
It's
just
okay.
like,
This is
why did I even like this?
This is a no judgment room. We all came from where we came from. So.
Blink-182 back then and all that.
Yeah. It all had its place, you know.
I mean, for me, it was either like kind of one end of the spectrum or the other. There's this band called Copeland that I really liked. It was really mellow, but then at the same time, I was really into Under Oath, which is really heavy and proggy. And it wasn't really until college that I kind of got more into like classic rock kind of stuff. Like Pink Floyd is a really big one for me. Just a lot of different stuff. When I got older, I kind of realized, I can like actually like all kinds of music. I don't really have to stick in this little bubble. So.
Yeah, you realize your identity is not based on what you listen to, right? Or you can expand that identity. Right? I did, though you mentioned pop punk last year, there was an event at this place in South Bend. They were doing these dance parties, and they did a pop punk night. And you could tell in that room, like all the parents that had like put the kids, got in a babysitter and like came out and were so excited. And like this was their night to come out and relive those songs. It was amazing. They raised a bunch of money for charity. It was cool. So when it comes to songwriting, Patty, are you strictly doing the lyrics? Do you guys share that at all? How's that go?
We haven't brought Dave into it yet.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm the words. Generally, with PerShayla and the Mayhaps, Lucas is starting the song and the arrangement. And he's really riff focused. I'm very like word rhythm. You're more like melodically focused. I'm more like rhythmically focused. And I think that's why we collaborate so well and have for so many years. Sometimes I write the music, and then I think you can usually tell, or I can usually tell, because it's like the chords are stupid when I write songs.
You agree with that, Lucas?
I mean, I get thrown for a loop every once in a while. And then eventually I kind of go, I kind of understand this now.
His songs are like technically harder to play, and I feel like my songs are like harder to remember what comes next.
And a lot of odd time.
Yes.
I'll like work it out. I'm like, did you know this is like 6/4 and then like 4 and then like 5/8 and stuff? She's like, no, it just felt right.
What are those numbers you're spitting at?
So many ways to come at it, you know. So how does that process go with you guys when you've got some lyrics or maybe just an idea and you've got a riff or whatever? How do you go about merging that into the end piece, the end product?
I mean, sometimes I just shout at him, I want one in drop D. And I shut the door. But
Don't come out until you do.
Locks me in there until I come up with something.
I think that Lucas just kind of messes around on guitar a lot, and sometimes I'll just be like, I want that one, or he'll send me like a whole like finished arrangement. Like we really, like you would think it would be more collaborative and like we're in the room together, but every time we're in the room together I'm just like, I hate this, I'm uncomfortable. Like we isolate, and like that's how it kind of comes to be. Like he'll isolate and write the whole thing, and then I like, don't talk to me, I'm doing lyrics. Like we're both very perfectionist, Virgo energy kind of people.
I can tell.
So you're just kind of in the back, like waiting and hanging out.
I've only been around for one like recording session.
For my solo album.
Yep. And it was just kind of reworking existing drum parts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to being more involved with that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine it has to be a constantly evolving process. I mean, you're changing individually, you're changing as a group. You know, you come in, that kind of a thing. So,
Yeah.
So you've got tours, the rest of the tour, but you said you might be aiming for an album maybe in the next year or so, or. No promises. No promises.
I think that was the right number of maybe, possibly. Yeah. We're kind of like evaluating like what we're doing that we like this year and where growth needs to happen, where it can happen, and then just like looking at our demographic, and because we've got a lot of fans from like just my social media, from like the Rush tributes I've been in, from the Accidentals, and I'm just curious, like, what music we want to, like, make, and, like, are they still going to be around for it? We think we want to go a little bit heavier than the bluesy thing that we've been doing, and kind of, like, land more in, like, a Black Sabbath, Dead Weather kind of ness. I don't even know what you call it. Riffy, heavy rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have, like, some keywords and things that we're looking for, and, hoping to turn that into musical ideas so I think our like if you listen to our first record, direction is kind of hard for us to like land on a lot of times, because we're good at a lot of things and we're trying to just like hone it a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's nothing wrong with a little experimenting and see where you evolve to. I mean, just because you do one album one way doesn't mean you can't do it another way the next time.
True. Yeah. Well, I think yes, and we want like an album, if we're gonna make one, to sound like they all fit on the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like yes, but narrow it down to a couple.
So when you're making, you're thinking of songs for an album, is that the main thing, the sonic unification, or are there other things that go in there theme wise, lyrics, that sort of thing, to unify an album?
Both. Sound is important. I think we learned that from the first record. I think our EP sounds more unified. But like Perpetual Motion Machine, I wrote the title track after all the other ones were pretty much written, and I knew I wanted to talk about like what it's like to be a woman in the world and industry, and just like what it's like to be on the road all the time. It's like the first track is very like you fill up the tank, you're hitting, like you're starting the tour, you're ready to go, and the last track is like I'm still doing this and why, and I'm low on gas kind of thing. So it was important to me to have like both sides of that idea. So that was me dabbling in like motif, like lyrically and subject wise. But I think they're both important, because otherwise I think you can say a lot of things but none of them are hitting the same unless you're like really exploring different emotions and sides of it.
Yeah. Have you as like the ignorant white guy in the room, have you experienced any change in the music world as far as how you are approached or how you are received as a woman in the music industry? Has that gotten better? Are we still doing a terrible job? Like what? Yeah,
it's it ebbs and flows. I mean, I think people are less likely to say things overtly, but microaggressions still happen, and a lot of people think they're progressive and they're not. We've had instances where we've had to just like, okay, we don't work with that person anymore because they can't keep their hands to themselves. And like whether it, was me or some other woman on the ground, like doesn't matter. Like we have to be really zero tolerance for stuff like that. But I don't know. I have found that I get more opportunities as like a side artist now. It's like, oh, like we should ask a woman to play bass. And so that is oddly gotten better, specifically working with other women musicians. I feel like at the very least, like, women and gender non-conforming people are like really getting together and collaborating more than ever. Or at least I'm experiencing it like that. So I love to see. I definitely have noticed that like when you watch a Tiny Desk for like like Chapel Roan or Olivia Rodrigo, they had all women and non-binary people in their bands. Like, I see that more, and I don't even. I mean, maybe I wouldn't think of it as weird anyway, but like it just seems less novel now.
Sure.
Less like a novelty. Oh, the girl band is
Yes.
female-fronted music.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a process.
I mean, that was practically a genre in my high school days. Like it was like female-fronted rock music. It was like its own separate thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is like I was talking with the Accidentals about this, and like you see a festival lineup with like majority men, and that's just like the norm. And it's like Sav said something about like Ruth Bader Ginsburg was once asked like what she would think of an all-female, all-women
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, thank you. And she was like, well, that would be normal because like that's what I want to see, because that should be normal.
Yeah.
Like, that should be. And so we're still working towards that, but I'm seeing more.
We've had some backsliding in the last few years. I don't know.
Yeah. Well.
Not that we have to get into all that, but that does. So how much of when you are coming up with lyrics and music, how much of it is like the personal versus more like what you're experiencing out in the world? And it doesn't have to be like, I'm not talking about necessarily politics, but just, I don't know, the trees or something. I mean, what's the balance between sort of biographical, autobiographical, and just, kind of telling stories?
I mean, I think that they're all very personal. And I mean, I think we are a politically charged band. I mean, I wouldn't say like, I don't know. I just feel like there's like a punk spirit to how I write things, that it's like, I don't care if I should say this. It's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel it and I'm going to say it. I'm going to honor that even if I don't like the song Do It For Me. It's like kind of a really bitchy song, but it's like, well, I was feeling really bitchy at that time, and I think that I'm honoring that bitchiness because, she deserves space too. And so it's very personal. For the most part, but then you have a song like Spill, which is like, that's about me and that's about women, but I mean, I know there are other groups of people who feel like they've been like not given a voice, or just had people insult them to their face and like not even understand why it's a problem, who would relate to a song like that. So both personal and like thinking beyond me. Yeah.
Well, as we start to wrap this up, so we've got maybe an album in the semi-near future. Anything else on the horizon for you guys that you're looking forward to?
I'm coming out with a solo album that Lucas has been engineering. Dave played on it. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, but so that's coming out in October. Excited for that tour with the Crane Wives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a whole tour with them?
Just the Texas leg, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
And the release show. Yeah.
That's up at the intersection.
Yes.
I'm gonna be in Ireland for that. I'm in Ireland, so I'm not too bummed. But also, I'm like, I haven't seen the Crane Wives live since pre-COVID, and I was so excited when they're like, "Oh, album release tour," and then I saw the date. Shit.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. I keep trying to book them down here, so they get them down to South Bend or something like that. One of these days.
So, yeah. But I mean, keeping it rolling. I don't know. I know there's so many things I'm excited about. Some I can't talk about. Some I don't know if they're real. And some I just don't have in my brain right now.
That's all right. That's good though. That means there's plenty happening. So yeah. That's cool. Well, so the EP right now is was it Perpetual Motion Machine? That's on all the streaming services. Of course, also on Bandcamp. And while it's not your number one thing, people go on Bandcamp and give the band money. Give musicians your money. That's one thing we're always saying here on the show. Give musicians your money. If you want independent music to exist, got to pay for it. So, well, thank you guys for taking the time to come out. Great. I wish you luck on your show tonight. There's a possibility I might shoot out towards Goshen. I'm not sure, but if I don't, I hope you guys have a great show and a great rest of your tour. And keep me posted on as you guys have things going on. When the solo stuff comes out, let me know. We can always do like a quick phone thing, even not a full episode, but just a quick phone thing, just to do some dropping on that, or get some stuff on the website. So, and anything you guys have going on otherwise, projects. So,
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. All right. Take care. You have been listening to Anywhere the Needle Drops, a product of Red Chuck Productions. Be sure to keep tabs on everything going on with this show and everything else Red Chuck over at redchuckproductions.com or by following us at Red Chuck Productions on social media. Special thanks to Hero Jr. for our theme music. You can check them out, listen to their songs, and see where they're going to be over at herojrmusic.com. That's HEROJRMUSIC.com. Also, special thanks to Paul Clemson, our sound engineer and producer. And while you're at it, make sure you visit the websites and band camps and shows of all of our guests. If you want local music, if you want independent music, or any kind of art, you've got to support them. So give musicians and artists your money. We will see you at the next episode. Until then, here's to life.
Could I, would